Welcome to the Full-Time FBA Show. In each episode, it's our goal to help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income selling almost anything on Amazon. And now, your hosts of the show, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. We're on episode number 291 this week, and today we're talking about why FBA helps you make way more money than you can make at FBM.
Oh, yeah.
And so here to talk with me about this is my co-host and business partner, Stephen Smotherman. I know last week you teased, and people might already be thinking, what's the difference between FBA and FBM? If this is a new concept to them, you're going to fill us in on what those letters stand for, right?
Oh, yeah. We're going to get into it in today's episode of the Full-Time FBA Show.
All right, let's get into this episode. And if your goal is to make a full-time income selling on Amazon, then you're already subscribed to the Full-Time FBA newsletter, right? Right? If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, then you're missing out on a ton of helpful updates, insights, coupon codes, video walkthroughs, trainings, free workshops, mindset tips, sourcing strategies, and more.
And more. That's a lot.
The newsletter's free, and you can secure your spot by going to fulltimefba.com/subscribe. We'll even include free access to a few helpful Amazon PDF downloads that are sure to help your Amazon business move forward. In fact, one of the resources you get instant access to when you subscribe is a list of the top 66 Amazon reseller acronyms and what they all mean.
Yeah, with this PDF, that's another acronym, you'll find out what ASIN, BAM, BSR, ASP, HTF, and LTH, what they all mean. And yes, these are not just random letters that I'm spitting out. They all mean something in the Amazon reseller community. And the more acronyms you know, the more you're going to be able to understand what people are talking about in the Amazon reseller social media groups or forums or anywhere people are talking about selling on Amazon. Again, that link, fulltimefba.com/subscribe.
Now, to start off the content of this episode, we'll share with you two Amazon reseller acronyms right now and what they mean: FBA and FBM.
Yeah, FBA stands for Fulfilled by Amazon, and it basically means that when you list an item to sell on Amazon, you send your inventory to an Amazon fulfillment warehouse to be stored, organized, and eventually when a customer buys the product, Amazon warehouse, they will fulfill that order, meaning that they will ship the customer your product that they just purchased from you. Now, there are fees with using FBA, and these fees cover all the work that you're paying Amazon to do for you. Again, storing, organizing, and shipping your product to the customer.
FBM, on the other hand, stands for Fulfilled by Merchant. And it means that when you list an item for sale on Amazon, you keep your inventory with you until it sells. And then when a customer buys your product, you package it up and you ship the item to the customer yourself. By doing FBM, you save money by not having to pay any of Amazon's FBA fees. Now, on the surface, many Amazon sellers hear that FBM saves you money, so it's an obvious choice, especially when you're a beginner on Amazon. But there is so much more that you need to know in order to make the best decision on how you handle this choice of doing FBA or FBM.
Yeah, doing a fulfillment by merchant, FBM was going to save you in paying those FBA fulfillment fees, but there are so many positive things that you get out of doing Fulfilled by Amazon that for us, it makes doing FBA a no-brainer. I mean, we're called the Full-Time FBA Show for a reason. The biggest reason FBA is better than FBM is that with FBA, your inventory automatically becomes eligible for Prime shipping to Amazon customers. If you're already a Prime member, then you know that Prime shoppers have that access to 2-day, 1-day, sometimes same-day delivery on millions of items as a part of the Prime membership. So with buying from FBM sellers, you rarely get access to that. And so Amazon buyers know that the best items to buy are Prime eligible items, the items that are being sold and fulfilled by Amazon, FBA.
For sure. And in fact, if I'm shopping on Amazon for myself and the product that I want to buy is not available via Prime shipping, it really annoys me. So much, in fact, that I sometimes consider not even buying the item. So FBA items really do get more sales just from being Prime eligible. And another huge reason FBA items get more sales is that Amazon almost always gives FBA items the buy box over FBM sellers. The buy box, also known as the featured seller, is that little box box in the upper right-hand corner of an Amazon product page where a customer can, with one click, add the item to their cart or just buy it right from the product page. In fact, statistics show that well over 82% of sales on Amazon come from the buy box. So if you're an Amazon seller, then you want to be in that buy box.
100%. In fact, I was talking to one of our new coaching clients last week, and they were telling me that they were only seeing a slow trickle of sales while focusing on fulfilling their customer orders, FBM. And once they took my advice and sent their inventory to Amazon and started selling via FBA, their sales started to skyrocket. I mean, we're talking about going from one sale every few days with FBM to seeing 30 plus sales a day with FBA. This is a game changer.
Yeah. And another huge benefit to using FBA is something that really benefits sellers who are selling multiples of the same items, meaning that you're not just selling a bunch of random one-off items, but you're selling more items where you send 5, 10, 20, 50 units of that item to Amazon. We already know that FBA sellers get more time in the buy box, but selling multiples via FBA get even more time in the buy box, especially since the buy box is now known to be regionally focused, meaning the buy box we see in Texas is probably not the same buy box you're seeing in your state. Even if you're in Texas, the buy box we see in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is going to be different than the buy box a customer sees in Houston, which is 250 miles away. So back to FBA being a huge benefit for sellers who are selling multiples. Say you're sending 40 of the same items to Amazon to sell via FBA. And maybe when you're creating your shipments, Amazon wants you to send 20 items to one warehouse, 10 items to another warehouse, and 10 to another warehouse. Once those items get checked in, many of those items will then be transferred to yet more Amazon fulfillment warehouses, so that eventually you have your 40 items spread across the country in potentially 25 to 35 different warehouses.
Yeah, the really cool thing is that Amazon knows the numbers. They know the demand of certain items in specific locations in the US. Amazon, for example, might know that a certain item sells way more in North Carolina. So if they're running low on the inventory in North Carolina, they will do what they call a warehouse transfer, where your items can be moved on Amazon's dime from one warehouse to another warehouse that will have more people buying from. This is huge. FBA really does help you increase your sales of your inventory items, especially if you sell multiples of the same thing.
Not only can you get more frequent sales with FBA, but you also get higher profits because the buy box does not always go to the lowest price, but instead it rotates among the few competitors who are regionally closer to the end customer. That means that if you're doing FBM and you're located in Florida, you might only get the buy box occasionally from customers who are in Florida, as long as there are no FBA sellers with inventory in Florida fulfillment warehouses. With FBA, you get the advantage of more customer eyes seeing your inventory.
Yeah, and not only that, but Rebecca, what is the number one filter that customers choose when performing a product search on Amazon?
By far, the number one filter that they use is to filter for Prime eligible items. That means that some Amazon customers don't even see the lower priced fulfilled by merchant seller inventory. They only see the higher priced FBA inventory. And again, that leads to more sales and more profits. I know this personally. That is what I do. I don't like to look at FBM items unless there are no FBA items available. That is my number one filter, searching only for Prime eligible items. So to me, this benefit alone is worth any of the fees that Amazon charges for using the Fulfilled by Amazon option, because the increased sales and the increased profits more than make up for the minimal FBA fees.
Another reason FBA obliterates FBM is because one of the biggest keys to turning part-time hours into a full-time income selling on Amazon is this: outsourcing. The more you can outsource the easier aspects of a business, the more time you have to work on the most profitable aspects of that business. And that's exactly what FBA is. It's outsourcing. Yes, there are fees to using FBA, but again, the time you get back in exchange for those fees helps you focus more on sourcing more inventory to sell on Amazon.
Not only that, but when you do everything yourself in your Amazon business, that makes scaling your business almost impossible. Scaling your business means that you're strategically growing it so that it's able to handle increased demand and also can increase your revenue without proportionally increasing your costs and resources. It requires you to develop processes and systems and strategies so that you can efficiently manage that growth and expand your operations. And by outsourcing your product fulfillment to FBA, you have more time, not to mention increased sales and profits, to grow your business to be even more profitable.
So hopefully by now you understand why using FBA is a super easy choice to make when it comes to how you run your own Amazon business. And if you're looking for more ways to increase your profits, to grow your Amazon business, we want to invite you to our Amazon Reseller Profit Roadmap Workshop starting today, May 12th, if you're listening to this on May 12th, where we're going to lead you on the path to the best ways to make a full-time income selling on Amazon. You can sign up for this free 5-day workshop by going to fulltimefba.com/roadmap. And don't worry, if you're listening to this podcast after the workshop, you can still follow that same link to watch either the replays or sign up for our next roadmap workshop. Again, that link, fulltimefba.com/roadmap. We look forward to you joining us on the journey of turning part-time hours into a full-time income selling on Amazon.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. As a reminder, you can find any of the links that were mentioned in the show notes for this episode at fulltimefba.com/291 because we're on episode number 291.
And next week on the show, we're going to be breaking down the 3 most common times Amazon sellers get stuck in their Amazon business. We'll help you get unstuck next week on the Full-Time FBA Show.
That's all for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. So head over to fulltimefba.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes and links from this episode. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter where you'll get several free downloads of our popular and helpful Amazon FBA resources. Now, take action on what you've learned today so you can find success at turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA.